everybody and welcome back. We are here for the second video that I'm doing as part of the Christmas in July collaboration. This is the collaboration that is being run by Teri from Sweet Pea Papers. Once again, I will have all of the information down below. Just a reminder to go and watch all of the videos in the collaboration. I think I said in my last video, it's always amazing to me seeing all of the different ideas and things that you can make with these papers, considering we're all using the same kits. I mean, there are two kits. There's one that's a steampunk Christmas, and then there's one that are these cute mice. I'm using the cute mice one just because it works better for this particular project, but I definitely will be going back and using some of the papers from the steampunk Christmas as well. But yes, please go and check out all of the other videos, all of the other collaborators. They've all been working really hard putting these different projects together. Also, make sure that you are commenting on the videos and posting in the Facebook groups. There are Linktree links and everything down below for you to go and visit each of the Facebook groups. Because I know Teri is doing prize drawings at the end of the collaboration, and there are lots and lots of prizes to be won. So definitely go and check out all of that. Now we are here today. So in my last video, we created this little notebook. So again, I just used pages from the mouse kit. Like I said, I haven't used the steampunk one. I might do something different with that one. But I wanted to create a notebook. So this is what we did last time. And the reason I made this first, because this is going to tell me how big I needed my folio. So I've already made one, which I'm going to show you now. And then we're going to put together the next one, just in case you want to follow along. So it has got a policy closure. We've got this gorgeous little mouse on the front. On the back we've got another mouse, and this is some Christmas washi tape that I have. It just opens up, and then on one side we've got the notepad that is slipped onto a belly band, and then here we've got two pockets. And next week, I've got one more video next week, I think it's on Tuesday, we'll come back and I will create some things that can go into those pockets. So we'll finish this off next week, but this base is pretty much what we're going to be making today. So I'll walk you through all of the measurements and things. But I'm hoping that it's just quite a nice little project. Again, it's something nice that you don't necessarily have to use these Christmas papers for if Christmas isn't your thing. Especially, I know some people don't like Christmas in July. It's, you know, too early to be thinking about Christmas. To be fair, that's normally me. But this year, I think I'm just trying to get ahead of myself, because I always find that I'm chasing my tail at Christmas time trying to get things made. So I thought if I set myself a few little projects this time, then I'm already up and running and have a few things sorted. So here's the second notepad that I made last week. I have already put the thing on the back, so it has got the backing, and I'm going to be using file folder. So at the back of this I used a piece of file folder. I've got the rest of it here. I'll just grab my scoreboard, and then I can give you all the measurements and tell you where it is that you need to score. So I've got two pieces. One of them is 12 inches by 5.5. And what we're going to do is start scoring. So I think, I'm just going to double check. Yeah, so the first thing I did is I came in from the 12-inch side 1.5 inches, and then that's going to create this front flap here. So I'm going to come in 1.5 inches and do my first score line. For the spine, I think I made it. Let me just check. Yeah, so I've done 1/4 inch plus 1/8. So what would that be? Is it 3/8? 3/8 of an inch. And then that's my spine. And then my next section, just again double checking. Oh, let me just check that again. Yeah, so obviously here we are 1 after the 10 mark. So I'm going to go all the way to 6.5. It just makes that back panel wide enough to obviously be able to get my book in. So I'm just going to go slightly wider. So I'm going to go all the way to 6.5 and draw my score line. I then need that gusset again for a spine. So it's 1/4 inch plus 1. Now I do realise I'm going obviously backwards on my scoreboard, but this is just the way that it made it easier for me. And then the next panel, I think I did slightly smaller. So let me just double check. So this is 1, 2, 3.5. So what's that? 3 5/8. So this is 3 5/8. I'm going to make this slightly smaller. I'm going to make this 3.5, just so that it's a little bit less. So I'm bringing this score line up to my 7, just because it's easier for me to do the maths. 1, 2, 3.5. And then I'm going to score that one there. And then this is going to form the pocket. Now, because when you create your score line, you actually want to fold it backwards the other way, I'm just going to flip this. So all the portions are still in the same places, but it just means that my fold's going to be the right way. So I'm just going to bring this over, line it up, and then I'm going to just burnish those. What I might do actually, so just so that you know all of the score lines. So if I've got it along the 12-inch side, you've got a score line at 2 5/8, 6 1/8, 6.5, 10 1/8, and then 10.5. That's where your score lines are, just so you know. So I'm going to fold this over. This is going to form that inside pocket, and we will cut a slit off. You're then going to have your first spine. So I'm just again lining that up and then just pushing it down. Then you need your second spine. So again, just lining it up, pushing it down. And then we're going to come in and do the spines on this side, just to give everything a really nice fold. Now obviously you can do this folio any size that you like. I was building mine around the notebook that we made, which like I said is why I made the notebook first. And then that's how it kind of goes together. So you've got this flap on the front, this opens up, this is where our notebook's going to go, and then this is where we'll have our pockets. Now you can chop this off, you can do something completely different here. I just like the idea of a big pocket and then a smaller pocket on the front. But you can obviously have a little bit of a play around. Right, so now that we've got that, I'm going to make, just so we can get the scoreboard out the way, I'm going to create the pocket and the belly band. So I've got a piece here that is 4 1/8 by 3.5. Yeah, just checking which way round I wanted it. So on the 4 1/8 side, this is where we're going to do a little bit of scoring for the pocket and the belly band. So I'm going to come in at 1/4 inch on that side, and we're going to go down. On this side I'm going to go slightly wider, so I'm going to go to where it's 3 3/4. It gives me a slightly wider lip on this side, and then I'm going to turn it to its side, so it's on the 3 3/4, sorry, side, and again I'm going to do 3/8 of an inch for a gusset. Okay, I am then going to come up to 2 3/8, and I'm just going to put a little bit of a mark there because that's where I'm going to trim. So I'm just going to bring my little trimmer in. Cut that down. Okay, so that's all of the scoring done. So we can get rid of this out of the way. Right, now we can sort this out. So I'm going to fold these bits over. One of them is going to form the belly band that goes here. So what I like to do is just double check that it does fit around, and you can obviously slide it up and down, which you can. I'm just going to bring in the fold line a little bit more on that smaller flap. Just because you want it snug. You don't want it too tight, but you want it snug. So I'm just going to fold it over ever so slightly. Just give that one more little test. Yeah, that's a bit better. Right, okay. So that's obviously going to get stuck into here. So we'll do that in a moment. We're then going to have this one, which is the pocket going down here at the bottom. So where you've kind of got those crossovers of your score lines, we're going to cut in and out. So you've got that shape. You do the same from that top part there. So this is what we're trying to cut. I'm going to do the same on the other side. This helps just reduce some bulk and crossover. So let's just move those pieces out of the way. And then this is our pocket. Okay, so once that's folded over, that's going to go at the bottom down here. Now again, on this side where it's a bit small, I'm just going to bring it in ever so slightly. And then I'm just going to trim a bit further in. It's because I need it slightly wider for the belly band, but this bit I need just slightly slimmer to fit over this pocket. That's better because I don't want it too close to the score line, because otherwise then it gets difficult to close. That's now perfect. Right, okay. So now with this slanted pocket, what I'm going to do is I want to come down about 2 inches. So I'm just going to grab my trimmer. I'm just going to line this up just so I can mark where the 2-inch line is. Is that big enough, or do I want it a bit lower? What did I do on the other one? Sorry, I'm just going to have a little look at this other one. Yeah, that's about 2. I think that's 2 inches. So we're going to do the same. So I've made a little mark where my 2 inches are. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut diagonally from this spot here to there. Now you can draw the line and then cut with scissors. I am just going to use my trimmer, but it's entirely up to you what you're more comfortable doing. I just find it easier using my trimmer. So about there, chop it down. Okay, that just gives you that slanted pocket. Right, now we're going to start bringing in the papers. So let's just get rid of some of that extra stuff. So we've got our belly band, we've got our pocket. Now we just need to start decorating. I've also got a cut circle ready. This is from a craft card, and a split pin ready. And the papers that I'm going to use, so again, it's from the mouse kit. So I've got this one twice because obviously where I have that flap, I need the image again so that when it overlaps, it kind of looks like it lines up. So I've done this one twice for that reason. And he's so cute, that little mouse. And then for the inside, I really liked this kind of vintage textured stripes. And then you've got the same stripes, but then you've got that print over the top. And I really liked this print because it helped with the pockets, because things were different orientations with some of the words. It just really sort of helped when I was decorating. So I really liked that as well. Now I'm going to start with the outside just because that's what I did last time. So I'm just going to move these pieces out the way. And the first thing I'm going to do is just trim off all of the white. Right, okay, so that's all of the papers cut up. So we're going to start then having a look at put them on here. So I started with the front, so I think that's what we're going to start with this time as well. So obviously I've got these two which are the same. And which way does it go? This way round, isn't it? So this will be the front cover. Now I know these papers aren't the height. I did adjust the size. I did want a little bit of a green border, so I'm not fussed that they are not exactly the same. So I'm just going to line it up, and then again with a pencil, just where I can see my first score mark, I'm just going to come in ever so slightly. And then I'm going to use my trimmer to trim that down. Okay, and then this bit is the bit that's going to go on the back here. So that's going to go there, that's going to go on the back. So I'm just going to grab my glue. Just fold these out just because it makes it a bit easier. Oh, hang on, I'm just making sure that I am putting these on the right things. So that goes there. Yeah, that is right. That is right, it's fine, we're okay. So I'm then going to put some glue on the back. Oh, come on, glue. Oh, no, it's clogged. Hang on a sec. Okay, so like I said, stick this one down first. Now I'm going to try and make an even-ish border top and bottom. I'm going to stick this one down. Again, just try and make it reasonably even, line it up with this one. Right, and then where I've obviously got this gap here, I have this Christmassy washi tape, which I'm going to use. I'm just going to find the end. Okay, and then again, I'm just going to line it up with the paper, with the score line. And I'm going to go all the way down to the edge of the paper. There we go. Okay, so that's the back. Right, we're then going to pop this one on. So I just tried to line it up as best I could, and similar to the other one, it's lining up where the M is. So on this one, I want to trim where the edge of that M is. I'm going to do the same on this one because I think, well, it'll be the middle of the M by the looks of it, because I'm trying to make it as straight as possible. So the middle of the M, that's where I'm going to trim. Okay, and then this is going to go on here. Okay, then it should line up once it is closed. Now what I did do on the other one is I put this at a slant, so I think I'm going to do the same. And for that one, just going to grab my small trimmer again. I'm sure I only came in 1/2 inch, so I'm going to do the same. I'm just going to mark where 1/2 inch is. Just going to mark where 1/2 inch is. And then again, I'm just going to trim at an angle. If you are any good at using scissors, obviously use your scissors. I personally just find this much easier. Okay. Okay, so that's going to get lined up there. So again, I'm going to add some glue. Now obviously not all of it, which corners is it? So it's going to be, these corners don't need glue because they're the bits that are going to get chopped off in a minute. Now you do need to close this because obviously you want to be able to line it up. So this bit gets a bit fiddly because we're trying to make sure that it all lines up. So I'm just going to pop it down. Obviously with wet glue you do get a few moments to wiggle it about. But I'm just making sure that when this is closed, it is lined up. Okay, that's it. So I am leaving just the slightest smidge of a green edge along there. And then obviously those bits I can trim off. Okay, next part then is to attach this. So again, I'm just going to roughly go for the middle. I am eyeballing it. And I'm bringing in my Crocodile Big Bite only because I'm going to need it for the book. And I actually think this punches a better hole than just the normal Crocodile. It's a much neater hole. And then to know where to punch it on here, I'm just going to kind of line this up, go roughly where I think the middle is. And then I'm just going to draw my mark on there. And then that's where I'm going to punch. And I am using the smaller one, I'm using the 1/8, not the 3/16. Okay, so now I've got that. I'm going to pop my brad in, split it on the back. Now I don't split it so it's completely flat because you do want obviously a little bit of give behind, but that is then the front part complete. So now we can start working on the inside. So again, let's just get rid of some of this paper that we have building up. So using this paper here, I just literally go up to where the score lines are again. Oops, drawing all over the place. Again, I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap down at the bottom, a little bit of gap for the top. I'm then just going to see where I need to cut it, so about there. And then I'm going to use the other side to obviously decorate this section as well. Okay. those two pieces, and then I've made a mark of how tall I need it, so I'm just going to bring these two pieces together so that they are then cut to the same height as well, so it's all nice and even. Okay, so one of them is going to go in here, and one of them is going to go on this bit here. Okay. Now it will seem a little bit bulky where the split pin is, but you're going to flatten that out in a moment because you've got to turn it over when you apply your paper. So line that one up. Because at the moment we've got a bit of obviously the lump there where we've got the split pin. So what I do, get my paper lined up first, then we're going to spin it over and flatten it out that way. Okay. So there's that. Obviously that's then going to come over here. So we now need some paper for there, some paper for there, and some paper on our pockets. That's where we're going to use this one. And this is where it comes in handy that it kind of goes in different directions. So let's have a little look what we want. So I think I used this section last time for the belly band because it just worked out pretty perfect. So I'm going to do the same. So I'm just going to put a little mark there. I'm going to lift it up just so I can see where I need to cut it on this side. About there. So I'm going to do that bit first. Let's do it that way. And then, oh, that's going to be a pain. I was trying to be clever then and only put through the bit I needed. Let's see if I can do that. So obviously this paper is too big for this trimmer, so I was trying to be clever. Oh, kind of worked. Let's move that out of the way. There we go. Oh, no, wrong bit. That goes on that bit. Okay, so that's the belly band. But I do like making these kind of folios because, like I said, you can really have a play around with your inside and how you have the layout, and if you have more sort of flips and flaps and things hinging off. I wanted to keep this basic because I'm actually going to be using this when I start sort of planning out my Christmas. So obviously I've got my notepad where I can kind of make my lists. And then obviously next week, as I said, I'm going to fill up the other side, and I'm going to have things like some tags and some all ready to go Christmas cards and things like that. So I'm just going to pop that. I'm going to put it nearer to the top, but it doesn't have to be right at the top. Okay, so there's that bit. So I'm going to give that a second to dry. While that's drying, we can have a think about these areas. Okay, so I think I'm going to use this section, which I'm a little bit sad of because I do lose this mouse unless I pop them on the pocket, but then we kind of lose that bit anyway. So I might have snowflakes on the pocket. Right, so I'm going to cut it there. Let's do that bit first. Oops. Okay, so this is going to go up here. Again, we just want a little bit of a green border, so I'm going to cut it from there down to here, and again I'm going to use my trimmer. So I'm just trying to look where I put that pencil mark. So there's one there and there's one by that mushroom. Okay, so hopefully perfect, that's going to go on there. Right, so let's do the pocket. So we're kind of gluing everything all at the same time, makes it a bit easier. So I really like snowflakes, so let's have a look. So we can actually get quite a lot of that on, can't we? So if I trim it about here, and about here, we can kind of figure out where we're going from there. So let's do that bit first. This is what I quite like about this paper, where it has a different orientation, is that you're able to really kind of have a play and pick out the bits that you want to be seen. Okay, so if that's on there, I might just come in slightly from this side, just so we can make sure that we've got enough of that mouse on that side. Okay, so we're going to trim it here and here. Wonderful, so that's the pocket done, and then we've got one more bit to measure out. Just making sure that bit's actually getting stuck down, which is the inside of here. Now I do have this bit that could go in there. About there, and then we kind of just get everything kind of stuck down at once, then it just makes it a bit easier. Right, obviously I can trim edges on that afterwards. Right, let's start sticking the bits and bobs down, shall we? So just going to try and go for roughly where the middle is. About there. Right, then I want to glue down this bottom section. So right grab a couple of clips just to hold that in place a second while I do the pocket. Oops. I think I'm getting more glue over my fingers than anywhere else. Right. Oops. So you, I'm going to go on there. And then you, I'm going to go on there. Line that up, take off these two. So we've got that, and then I'm going to pop this on. Oops. Okay, so I'm just going to line this up at the bottom. I know that we cover up that cute little mouse, but that's why I wanted this particular one there. So I'm just going to hold that in place for a moment so that glue can grab. Then obviously we've got our notebook, so I'm just going to pull that up, slot in that back cardboard piece down in there. So that sits in its spot. Okay, and then we have got our pockets. And as I said, next week we will go through and sort those pockets out. Today we're just getting the base built. So I'm just going to trim off those two pieces. And then we need some string to go round. So I've got this red string that I'm using. So 1, 2, and 3. Oops. Now you could use anything for this. If you've got a red ribbon, that would also probably look really pretty as well. Or any lace to go round. Depends how kind of vintage looking you want it. I mean the stripes behind make it look a little bit vintage. I actually quite liked the brighter red. Okay, so that kind of all lines up. And you wrap this around, obviously however many times is up to you. Oops, I think I've done this shorter than my last one. Uh-oh, oh well. That's only going to get one wrap around. Okay, so there is the little folio. Okay guys, so they're my two little cute folios. I have really enjoyed this project. As I said, I will be back next week so we can fill up some more of the pockets in here. Please go and check out all of the other crafters. As I said, it's always fantastic seeing all of the different projects and all the inspiration that you can use with these papers. But obviously you can also be getting ideas for another project that you have in mind using different papers if you wish. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you've enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up. Please feel free to drop me a comment. I really enjoy reading those. If you are not already a subscriber, of course, I would absolutely love for you to do so. Please also make sure that you click that bell button. That way you are notified of any new crafty videos. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate your time and I hope you have a wonderful day. See you in the next crafty video. Bye for now.